This whole image was generated using Gemini.
North Korea has built a secret workforce inside American companies.
Whatever documents they are submitting, they should actually be scanned for watermarks.
Very human facets are also part of the screening process.
Entirely unprecedented domain that we are about to step into. Hello everyone, my name is Aniket and welcome to the Great Cyber Podcast. And I have with me Dr. Byrd, who is going to be our host with us. Dr. Byrd, welcome again.
Hey Aniket, hey everyone, how you guys doing today? This is another exciting topic. You know, what's fascinating about being in the cybersecurity space is that each day, each week, something is always unfolding, giving us an opportunity to share with you guys our thoughts and our takeaways on what's happening globally.
So true, Dr. Byrd. In fact, many of my friends who are in the speaking industry, they're always scratching their head. What do I talk about in my next podcast? And we in cybersecurity, I don't think we have to worry about that because a lot of hackers are doing a lot of hard work so that you and I are busy.
Exactly. We never worry about what we're going to talk about. We just wait a few minutes, wait a day or two, something is happening. At least we're getting a deviation, a break from AI. It seems like the past 4 or 5 episodes and our master classes have been just inundated in everything that's been happening across the AI spectrum.
So true. And when the hackers take a break, then governments step in. They will create something new, a new legislation, a new law, and then that creates a new ripple all over the world.
That's true. Well, this topic today still covers AI, so we aren't necessarily moving completely away from it. But what we are starting to see in today's discussion is this evolution of the use of AI for nefarious, actions, right? The generative AI to create deepfake video and content and things of that nature to infiltrate companies.
So true. We have covered this in one of the previous episodes, and I'm sure the viewers can see a link somewhere on the screen to one of our previous episodes that talks about this exact issue which was happening.
Well, what we're seeing in the news, I'm pulling up these articles that I wanted to share with our listeners, and depending on what you have access to, I have 2 resources I'd love for you guys to do a deep dive in. Both of them are from the Wall Street Journal. This is the authors of the article was Emma Scott, Sam Kessler, and Robert McMillan. This article was posted, and this documentary was posted August 12th, 2026. And there are 2 links. One is to a documentary and one is to the article itself. So if you have access to that, I'd love for you guys to take a look at it. It's titled Inside North Korea's Operation to Conquer the American Job Market. And they talk about the generation of $800 million a year.
Yeah.
And it says thousands of North Korea operatives are using deepfake and stolen identities to land remote jobs at U.S. companies, funneling hundreds of millions of dollars back to the regime. Leaked data, interviews, and never-before-seen videos attained by the Wall Street Journal reveal how a single team of these workers infiltrated at least 8 companies in just a few months.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to switch to another screen, which is actually the article in and of itself, and it talks about North Korea has built a secret workforce inside American companies, again, using stolen identities, AI tools, and U.S. accomplices. And it talks about how they're able to cheat their way into remote jobs in an effort to earn money for the regime. And they talk about, they interview some guys from the FBI, and they talk about the use of AI to get them hired, relying on help from Americans. And in this article, they talk about the fact that they have some facilitators, some are witting and some are not. meaning that they aren't
Yes.
really sure what they're getting into, but they're
Yeah.
being duped by these online job markets, ads, and things of that nature. And one
Right.
man in Ohio told the investigators that he even attended company meetings,
Huh.
while the North Koreas did the actual labor.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
very fascinating. I'll switch back to our screen now. I know that we are getting some visual feedback from the
Yeah.
monitors, but it's really fascinating to see the proliferation of these schemes, right?
Right.
When we
Right.
started our initial discussion, we
Yeah.
were, warning our audience about the risk of deep fake and the regime's ability
Yeah.
to infiltrate these organizations. But it goes much deeper than that. They have evolved their TTPs to not
Yes.
only hire U.S. persons unwittingly,
Right.
and even have them participate, in a lot of this. One of the guys that they were interviewing, he was still, having conversations with his
Hmm.
handler from North
Oh.
Korea, and they were going back and forth while the documentary, the interviewers, the journalists were
Hmm.
recording. It's fascinating. So if you guys have an opportunity to view that article and the video, please do so. It's on the Wall Street Journal. It was published August 12th, and the journalists, they did a fascinating job. Really fascinating.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Absolutely right, Dr. Byrd. I think these operatives are really advanced. In fact, when I tried to access this article on the Wall Street Journal website, it asked me for subscription. I'm sure many of our viewers, when they go there, they might get a similar sign up link as well. But then, when I searched for the exact same article in Google, I got a couple of more links. So, this information is certainly available. August 12th is the date that you should know. Um, Now, one thing that I would really like to mention here, Dr. Byrd, is that our program in cybersecurity from Johns Hopkins University, in our program, we teach malware analysis. And in that, we use a tool called app.any.run. And guess what? This entire operation was cracked open by the team from app.any.run, which is just fascinating. And all of their analysis is available on the website as YouTube videos as well.
Yeah, that's the great thing about what we call cyber sleuths. They
Yeah,
have companies and students from various universities,
yeah,
all kind of playing a part in upheaving some of the investigations and participating in some of the investigations that you happen to see
right.
globally in the cyberspace. So as we articulated, any.run, these
Yeah,
guys have done quite a bit of research. The Wall Street Journal has done research. The
yes,
New York Times, all of the global journalists have been reporting on the proliferation of the RK workers. We've
yeah,
also seen the FBI publish some of these public service advisories, right,
right,
on the
right, yes,
IC3 website. So there are a lot of different ways to get it. I understand, and unfortunately, some of the publications, have the subscription and paywalls and things like that.
yes,
So it
yes,
may prohibit that. But please take a look at it. Also, again, the FBI IC3 website has some public service announcements, information
right,
about how to protect yourself from the North Korea, IT workers fraud. And they really put the onus back on the companies, right? Not only the HR company, the HR companies and the HR
hmm,
department to make sure that they're doing their vetting. In
yeah,
the video and the article, they talk about questioning some of the interviewees about their credentials. So, for
hmm,
example, one person was alleging to be from Ohio, and the guy was saying, "Hey, what's the weather like?" In this small town,
yeah,
and the person who was on the screen was pausing, said, "Yeah, it's nice. It's okay." Giving these very vague answers as opposed to saying, "Man, we having a hot spell, or we got a lot of rain," or
yeah,
having the lack of specificity was really absent there. And when they did their report, some of the screenshots that they were showing was of
Hmm.
these individuals Googling, weather in Ohio or weather in,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating to see the scale and scope of the North Korea IT workers' uh, ability to, again, steal identities, create these relationships and synergies online with these unwitting
Yeah.
participants in many instances. It's fascinating.
Couple of points I want to show or rather share with the learners. Number one, if you want to do a correlation, you can look at the OpenAI's report, Disrupting Malicious Use of AI. This is the name of a report from OpenAI. The last publication was in the month of February 2026. And in that report as well, they go deep into how the DPRK workers tried to use ChatGPT, but they prevented them from creating a fake resume or a fake image. Now, in the recent investigation, the report from ANY.RUN goes into a lot of details. Number one, how did they hook the attackers? So they sent them a QR code to start the interview process. And as the person scanned the QR code, it captured a lot of information from their phone, their physical location, their IP address, and a lot of history as well. Eventually, when that person got hired, instead of sending them a physical laptop, they sent them a virtual desktop, which was nothing but a virtual lab from app.any.run. And every activity this person was doing was getting monitored. What they found is that during the hiring process, when they asked for the driving license and they did forensic analysis on the driver's license, they found that there were traces of Gemini usage, that this whole image was generated using Gemini. And also, um, in the last 3 to 4 days, there have been a lot of discussions about watermarks because Claude has decided to insert watermarks in every AI processing that it does. Now, when these guys used Gemini to generate this image, that left some watermarks as well, and those were clearly seen in one set of images from one of the infiltrators. Whereas the second infiltrator, who pretended to be a front end developer, when he submitted his documents, they were all seeming to be genuine. It was captured from an iPhone 15. The only thing is, he did not know that he was also signing up to be a front end developer. Earlier, you talked about identities being stolen. I think this is a classic case of identities being stolen here, Dr. Byrd, and
Yeah, yep.
AI misuse as well.
Exactly. Even in the article, the Wall Street Journal article, they talk about,
Yeah.
that proliferation of the stolen identities and even synthetic identities, the creation
Right.
of new identities based on some hybrid variation, you know. And what was also fascinating is that the documentary, the journalists actually participated in
Hmm.
the exchange, the conversations between
Yeah.
the, person that was in Ohio that was participating. And
Hmm.
he was able to share like his browser history, his emails, calendars, and even
Yes.
screen recordings,
Yes.
of some of the interaction and the back and forth, the discourse between the varying parties. It was really fascinating, but again, it heightens the challenge and the importance of us to remain vigilant,
Right.
again, not
Right.
only the IT departments, the cyber teams, but also HR, right? Who are the kind of front end point of contacts for people that are trying to enter the workforce for a particular
Yeah.
company. So again, they're using AI to get hired, using these synthetic IDs,
Yes.
identity theft, face swapping tools, all of that, was making it challenging for them to spot. So
Right.
if you are in a role where you have the opportunity to help strengthen the cyber resilience in your organization, make sure that you're sharing these type of threat alerts, the tools, the techniques, and the procedures that these individuals are using with your HR team. That's the only way to stay ahead of this.
Right. Right. And um, a few learnings from this entire new episode, this new interaction that they had. Number one thing that they mentioned is that you should do your background checks and KYC. if you are a remote first company, make them periodic and include in-person verification. I would also like to add, whatever documents they are submitting, they should actually be scanned for watermarks. They should be scanned for AI generated images, kind of a signal. Now, if you are somebody who is a remote worker, a genuine remote worker, I would ask you not to use AI to enhance your face, enhance your suit while you are sending a picture to your employer, because now it's going to have those watermarks and they might think you are not a real person. Right? So it's an entirely unprecedented domain that we are about to step into.
That's a great point, Aniket. I mean, you just really have to be careful that you aren't giving these false signals, and you just want to truly be your authentic self. And I think the hiring managers will appreciate that, and the companies as well.
Right. They also mentioned that you should train your recruiters to find or spot the red flags. A potential red flag is if somebody's English is not very good and they claim to be applying for a much higher position. In that case, it's a red flag because our recruiters are the first line of defense. They also mentioned to block Astral VPN immediately, along with any service that refuses to cooperate with takedowns or law enforcement requests. So then, whichever VPN service that your remote employees are using, that service's own reputation becomes a red flag as well if it's not good.
Exactly. And then also, just some of the very human facets are also part of the screening process that are so important. For example, if a candidate indicates that he's from a certain town or a city or state, particular college or university, asking the very general questions about, that area is a way of determining if that person is truly authentic or not.
Right. Okay, I think this episode we covered a lot of things, and I'm sure our listeners are hungry for more. So, Dr. Byrd, you and I will prepare and we'll come back again with yet another interesting episode of the Great Cyber Podcast. Any parting words for our listeners and our watchers?
Well, as always, thank you everyone for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. What we hope to highlight is the ever-changing dynamic in the cyber and IT landscape that really requires you to do your homework and remain vigilant. As we've highlighted in several of our previous podcasts, the evolution of the North Korea workers' tradecraft to what we've seen this week, the August 12th articles from the Wall Street Journal, the ANY.RUN malware investigation, and the other number of journalists that are producing materials about the proliferation of the IT worker scam. It's really fascinating, and we hope that you continue to join us on your learning journey.
Right. Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone who joined in and who have been with us in this entire journey of the Great Cyber Podcast. This is us, Dr. Byrd and Aniket, signing off until we see you again in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Talk to you soon.